Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Welcome to the Maxine Pearl Phillips Life Strategy Show. This is your host, Maxine Pearl Phillips, CEO and founder of Level Less People Succeeding, which is a career and professional development coaching and consulting company. We are here to help adults, professional adults, young professionals. That means those who transition from high school going into college, those who are already graduates, those who are unemployed, underemployed, and those who are seeking promotions. That's what we do here at Levelless because it is success without levels. So last week, I had a wonderful time celebrating my 70th birthday. Yes, 70. I know it's hard for me to believe as well. But I want to tell you that I want to check to make sure that we are on the Levelist site and everything is being seen there. Mark, take a look for me to make sure that we're on the site. Just trying to make sure everything is up and going. All right, so we're going to check the site. Okay. You know how it goes. We have to check technology and make sure everything is working properly. But as I was saying last week, I was able to celebrate my 70th birthday here on the Maxine Pearl Phillips Life Strategy Show. We had wonderful guests to come on and share some, I would say, encouraging, empowering, prophetic messages, poems, songs, you name it. It was happening all here on the show. I was one proud person. But in all of that, it's always so good to let people know how much you appreciate them. That's right, appreciate them. And when I tell you that I love you, it's sincere. I know a lot of people say, oh, how can you tell someone you love them and you don't even know? Well, I have a higher power other than myself, and God is love. And so we love you in a different way. It's not an intimacy love, but it's a love that we have just from our heart to you. Here we are among the holiday seasons. There are a lot of things that's going on in individual lives, and I've chosen to talk about holiday mental health helpfulness, HELPFULLNESS, helpfulness, as well as healthy mental health. And tonight, there are three things. I have about 7 different things I can talk about, but there are 3 different areas that I'm going to touch on tonight. And then I want to share with you that I have a grand opening that's going to be happening in March of 2025. And that opening is going to be about the Career and Professional Development Institute that is a part of the Levelless People Succeeding organization and firm. So as we start talking about the mental health, the holiday seasons can make us, it's a wide range of different emotions and experiences that's going to happen as we're going through these this next month or two. We started with Thanksgiving. Now we're going into Christmas. We have New Year's. It's going to be happening, and a lot of emotions are going on. We're going to be meeting with family and friends and loved ones, and we're going to be having a lot of networking and gathering and Christmas celebrations and holiday celebrations. But how do we can control all of this? Now, listen, I'm not sitting here telling you that I am certified in mental health or anything like that. But what I am going to share with you is some emotions that I've experienced. I know that my friends have experienced. I know my family experienced. And when you start talking to individuals, you can see that they've experienced it as well. And of course, even on the internet, when you key in anything about mental health and the holidays, you're going to get so many different ideas and suggestions and things that's going on and how you can even help individuals as well as yourself during this holiday time. And it's not just here at Christmas or New Year's, but holidays go throughout the United States, 365 days, in this year. There's so many different holidays. But what I want to tell you is that find the time to find joy. Make sure that you're celebrating and you're celebrating with some connections. Now, I have some notes here that I'm going to be looking down at because there's so much great information I like to share with you tonight. But one of the things that brings up a subject is about stress. Many times we find ourselves in a stressful situation. We have a lot of anxiety, we have loneliness, and sometimes we even have sadness because we're missing individuals who are no longer here with us on this earth. And so we're going to be talking about a little bit of that. And how do we find ourselves trying to maneuver that? I'm not telling you that it's not going to happen, because it will happen. It has happened to me already because I miss my sister dearly. I miss my mother. I have 3 sisters that have gone on, and I know I miss them, and my father and my brother. So there's a lot of different emotions. And then what about close friends? You have a girlfriend, a friend, a friend that you've had for 40 some years, and they're no longer here. You go through all these different emotions. And so let's talk about some of those emotions that we go through especially during the holidays. We go through them all the time, but for some reason it is just more heavy on our hearts and in our mind during the holidays. So one of the things I want to talk about is a common challenge that individuals find themselves in is increased stress. Increased stress. And because increased stress can be brought on by pressure to buy gifts, it can be brought on about attending the parties. You can't attend all the parties. So, what parties do you attend so you're not offending someone? Or what are you going to wear? Or who you're going to see? Do you have to take a gift or no gift? And you even have the things that you can give toy for tots. So there's different ways to give back without giving a personal gift. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. And even how do you manage some of the family dynamics that can increase your stress level. And so let's dive a little bit into some of the unrealistic expectations. The media is out there, and it portrays a lot of different when you look at the media and the advertisement and the commercials and everything that's going on, it looks as though it's a perfect holiday situation. And we know that nothing is really perfect. Nothing is really perfect. You might have a standard of excellence, but perfect, that's not going to happen. And be realistic with yourself that being perfect is not going to happen. Having a perfect dinner, having a perfect party, having a perfect this. Listen, last week, I had the birthday celebration down to a science. Every 15 minutes, how many guests will be coming on and having a conversation? Well, guess what? The link that they were given, for some reason, stopped working. There's nothing that we could do about that. But what happened is, what had happened is, it threw all of the timing off. So guests were trying to get in and they couldn't get in because the guests that were already there, they were already speaking. So did it stop the fun? No. Did we allow that to stress us out? No. Were individuals patient enough to wait once they found out what was going on? Yes. So you can turn stressful situations into productive situations. I'm not saying all of them are going to happen that way, but remember, we don't control the situations, but we can control our reactions to how we're going to act when that situation or when that crisis situation happens. And so some of the things, when I was talking about media, and they portray it as a perfect holiday, there's no such thing as perfect. And when you start looking at, you want things to be perfect, like I wanted last week to go the way I wanted it to go, and it did, but just not in my timing. And so it can lead to some dissatisfactions, and it can lead into some disappointments. And you've experienced it, I've experienced it, so many other people have experienced it. So if you've experienced some of these, go on and put it in the chat box, some of the experiences that you've had. Share it with me. But there's a way that we can head off some of these stressful situations during the holiday. And I want to talk about 4 or 5 of them. And the first one I want to talk about is setting realistic expectations. Now, I had to be truthful with myself last week. Okay, Max, yes, you did put it in the time situation. Every 15 minutes, so many people is going to come on and speak. But think about You going to different events, you having a party at your home or a gathering at your home or at your business, and you've got everything already laid out, timed, and so forth and so on. But be realistic with yourself and say, do I have any additional time built in the event that a situation happens that I can't control? And then do you have a backup plan? Do you have individuals who can serve as a backup to you? Because something really could happen to you. You could not feel well, or you could be delayed in meeting someone and having a conversation with someone. And where does that put you with your guests? But have a backup plan. And so, with this setting realistic expectations, one of the things that you can do with your holiday plans, you can prioritize. You can prioritize what matters, what is important to you that takes place during these particular gatherings or during this particular event. I'm going to call it gathering, so I won't keep going to different directions. And then what matters to the loved ones that you've invited or the people that you've invited to your event. Limit the number of social events that you even attend. That's a realistic expectations. You can't make them all, so don't agree to make them all. You have to set what's the priority. And in setting that priority, is it family? Is it that because you're the CEO of your organization, you need to be there? Are you the one representing the organization? And if so, are you speaking? So look at all these different parts that you have to play, even with the events that you attend, but be realistic with how many events you can attend. The other realistic piece is not only are you attending the events, but what about your attire? What is the attire for the event? And have you asked to make sure that you are within the guidelines? And I don't say everything has to be formal, because some things are very informal when it comes to the holiday gatherings. So just think about that. So limit the number of social events that you're going to attend and focus on the meaningful gifts rather than the extravagant ones. What's coming from your heart that you're now sharing with another person? Or even the realistic gift from your heart, is it something that you wrote? A poem? Is it a letter that you wrote to them? Is it something that's homemade? That's another way of, we'll talk about a little bit later, about maintaining financial boundaries within the holiday time. And then communicate openly about family expectations, because you can't make every family event. Especially if you have your husband and wife, you might go to the wife home or the wife family this Christmas, or the husband's family for Thanksgiving, or another event that you might decide that you all are going to go to. But you have to come to an agreement on that. Let me take a sip. As far as which ones are you going to attend, and do it ahead of time. Don't wait until it's the holiday time. And that's how you can set some realistic expectations. And let's face it, nothing is going to go always the way we want it to go. And so just have a backup plan. And then help yourself to reduce feeling overwhelmed, because the whole objective for you going to these events is to have some fun, to meet people that you have not seen, to have them love on you and you love on them, to encourage them, to empower them. They empower you. They tell you about the support that they have for you. And y'all are even talking about 2025 and what's going to be happening as far as goals and things like that. So I have a tendency to mix business with pleasure. But the whole thing of it is, it's about setting expectations right then and there in the present, and also, how am I going to move forward? So that's something that you can think about when you're setting realistic expectations. And then practice mindfulness and self-care. By all means, please, please, please incorporate some kind of mindful practice. And a mindful practice could be something as simple as meditating. It could be yoga. It could be deep breathing. It could even be journaling. It could be sitting in a quiet room with just a nice dim light. It could be looking at the twinkles that's going on during this holiday, the lighting and all of the things, the festivities and all the lights and the colors and everything. So you can be looking at that. And even exercise, you know During my birthday gathering last week, I had an individual to come on and she blessed us with how to breathe. She talked about taking inhale the breath and then hold it and then exhale very slowly. And what that does is quiet the body. It helps the body to become relaxed and peaceful. And it also helps you to start becoming focused, centered, so that you can be ready to listen and hear what other people are saying to you and what's going on in your atmosphere or in the environment. So that mindfulness is so important that you take the time to do that. And that's another thing that you can do during this holiday to reduce some of the stress is to practice mindfulness and self-care. One of the other things you can do in mindfulness and self-care is to read a good book. And that even if you read it at night to help unwind and allow you to have that peaceful sleep, that can be mindfulness and self-care. Taking walks before the evening goes, before the sun goes down, or in the morning time when the sun is rising, or right now we have weather that's fluctuating back and forth, so you have to dress warmly, and you can dress in layers so you can easily remove things as you're walking. And also, guess what? You can walk in the house. I have a Wii, and on the Wii, it has where you can walk with the Wii. And of course, if I'm walking too slow, the Wii say, "Come on, catch up with me." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm almost out of breath, but let me see what I could do to keep going." And so you can even walk inside the home. You can walk up and down your steps, and you don't necessarily always have to go outside because sometimes the weather might not permit you to go outside with it raining, or if now we're getting ready to go and get into sleet or snow weather. So it's something that we have to keep in mind. And then enjoy some of your hobbies. What are your hobbies? If you put them aside all year long, but now you have a little downtime during this particular part of the year, the season, pick that hobby up and see, start working on it. I love quilting. And so, I have my quilt scraps out and I can easily put some quilt pieces together. I have some chair covers that I'm going to be covering during this holiday season. I have a little downtime to be able to do that. I am a master tailor by trade. I don't always get a chance to sew, but that is one of my ways of really reducing myself with stress is to get to that sewing machine and start sewing. And I remember at one point in life, on a Saturday morning, I would start sewing an outfit and I would have it ready by Saturday evening and I could wear it to church Sunday morning. That's just how much I love sewing. But you find what that hobby is for you and focus in on it, hone in on it. Take that relaxing time because many times when it's a hobby, it's not a job. It's something that you're passionate about and that you love doing. So keep that in mind as far as a way of reducing stress during this time of the year. And take a break and help yourself to reset and manage your stress more effectively. Now, the reset, oh my goodness, that's a word that came to me when I was in the hospital recovering, or while I was in the hospital with these kidney stones not too long ago. And as I was laying there and I'm thinking and I'm praying and I'm hurting and I'm trying to get through all of this, I realized that this is an opportunity for me to have a reset, for me to reset my mind, for me to reset my body, for me to reset my spirit, for me to even reset my goals moving into 2025. What's important to me? Life is too short. It's entirely too short. And look how 2024 has just zipped by. I mean, it has gone very, very fast. I know for me, it has. And what about you? Do you feel the same way? And if so, take a pause, reset, allow yourself to calm down, allow yourself to be focused, allow yourself to be centered, and allow yourself to be intentional about you moving forward and the things that you are to be doing as you move forward in life. Again, tomorrow is not promised and life is too short. So enjoy it while you can and be productive. In the mindfulness, as we talked about relaxation and the deep breathing. How many of you do yoga? I remember I used to do yoga when my son was first born. That was almost 30, 40 years ago. And that is really how I was able to get my body back in tone after having a baby, was to do yoga. And yoga puts just you in so many different positions. But what I learned most about yoga was the fact that it strengthened your inner muscles, not the exterior muscles of the body, but your inside muscles. That's, to me, that's what is strengthened most about me, was my inner muscles. And I was very surprised once I started doing yoga, but it definitely helped me to manage stress, anxiety, and to reduce my waistline and inches in the body. So that was good. Another thing I want to mention is about setting boundaries. And that can be done in so many different facets of life. It can be done on your job. It can be done even having a conversation. But learn when to say no. You must set boundaries for yourself, and that will keep you from being overwhelmed. And when you're no longer overwhelmed, it helps you to reduce the stress level in your life. And let's get a clear understanding about about stress. Stress can destroy you. It can cause you to be ill, and it could cause a lot of different illnesses to take place in your body. And many times the doctors are trying to pinpoint exactly what's causing it, and it's stress. At one point in my life, being an executive, I would say probably at the last 5 years before I actually was laid off or retired, I would say every December I had the flu. I would be so sick. The entire 2 weeks I was off for the holiday, I would be so sick because I was planning for the next January and a system I had to roll out. Well, it was stress flu. Is there such a thing as stress flu? Believe me, I would have it every December. So I want you to think about it and even evaluate that within yourself, because if you find yourself sick and you're like, I haven't been around anyone, so why am I so sick? It could be stress flu. You get the same symptoms. You get the headache. You get the runny nose. You're tired. You have a fever. You have all of those symptoms, but that's because the immune system has just gone down to almost zero. And you have to start rebuilding your immune system. So set boundaries and understand and know when to say no, and set limits on your time and your commitments. You only have 24 hours in a day. Now think about it. In those 24 hours, you have to sleep. 5 hours of sleep every day is not enough. Eventually, your body will cave in. And so, therefore, you have to decide how much time you're going to spend in all these areas that you're going to be working out and doing all of these things, during the day or during the week or during the holiday. And so, when you set limits and you set a time frame, then you know your boundaries. And don't be afraid to share those boundaries with your family, your friends, the individuals who are asking these things of you. If you can't do it, then say you cannot do it. And if you can do it, then let them know how much time it's going to take you to get it done, or by when you can complete it. I mean, I had to tell someone, I said, I am not going to be able to get to this for another 2 weeks. And, is that going to be okay with you? And if they say yes, and you can go on and move forward and schedule it. And if they say no, then we have to look at how can we reschedule it in the future, or are you the one that's going to end up doing it? It could be that they might need to hand it off to someone else. And guess what? That's okay too, because you want to make sure that the person who asked this of you get the quality work, get what they needed, get it with a standard of excellence. And if you're not going to be able to produce that, then why not allow that person to move on and have someone else to help them with that? It's a win-win situation when we do it like that. It's about how can we help another person move forward with quality and with the standard of excellence. So that's about establishing boundaries. And then there's a certain thing as family dynamics, that can contribute to stress. Oh, yes. The conversations that we have with each other, that can contribute. Again, the expectations that your family members might have of you and you have of them, that can cause stress. And then what you want most of, if nothing else, you want a supportive environment where you're supporting your family members and your family members are supporting you. I mean, last week was just, I mean, I'm still full. I'm just still grateful, all the pour out and the empowerment and the supportive that I had last week with all of my family and friends. I would say I probably had, there were about 20, at least 20 people who spoke over me and who spoke nothing but words of encouragement into my life and prophetic words. And so you'll have to go back and look at the celebration from last week. Yes, it was phenomenal. And so if you haven't, you missed it. So don't you just know that when Maxine has a gathering, it's always fun, filled with great information, empowerment, and inspiration. And not only did they give it to me, but it was something that you could receive and and share and move forward as well. So then, with the establishing boundaries, I have written here being clear about your availability and your willingness to engage to help. Oh, your availability. Do you use your calendar? And on your calendar, I'm talking about the calendar that's on your telephone. Do you put all your appointments, the things that you have scheduled that you must do on your telephone? And if so, that will give you an idea as to whether or not you're able or if you're available to help anyone or at what given time and how much time are you available to help them. So think of it like that in order to help you to reduce stress. That's one way is keep your calendar up to date. And before you say yes, or even before you say no, look at your calendar. And your calendar will help you to determine whether or not you have the time that you can commit to what the person is asking of you to do. So that's another way to set boundaries. And then, because let's face it, the main reason for the holiday is for it to be enjoyable so that you can be with family and friends and loved ones and laugh and talk and have memories and make new memories. And we're going to talk about making new memories in this next conversation. And the next part of reducing stress is loneliness. I had someone that asks about loneliness, and yes, loneliness it can be very stressful this time. I'm sitting here now talking to you about it. And I remember today I was just missing my mother because she loved the Christmas holiday. Absolutely loved it. And she helped us to love it when I was a little girl, when putting up the Christmas tree. And we would go out to we call it the mountain because I lived in West Virginia. So we would go to the mountain and we would cut our Christmas tree down. That's right. We actually could cut the Christmas tree down and brought it to the house, and all the smell of the pine and everything was just absolutely, the aroma was just beautiful. And then to start decorating it and seeing the lights. Now, at that point in time, we didn't have the lights that twinkled. We just had the light that stood lit, that was lit. But we did have the blue and the green and the gold, the amber and the white, and then sometime the clear. But the thing about it is my mother loved Christmas and she helped us to love it. And of course, it was always about the gifts, right? As a kid, it was all about the gifts because we couldn't wait to the next morning to see what gifts, that was brought to us and that was under the Christmas tree. And so she got a kick out of watching us open the gifts. I carry that forward with my children. I loved watching them open the gifts and see their eyes light up and like, oh, I got this, I wanted this, and I got this. So are you as an adult still excited when you receive a gift and you tearing the paper off, trying to figure out what's in the box or what's in the bag? And then when you see it, it's like your face light up and everything. You're like, oh, I wanted that so badly. And then I got it, so. But yeah, so that's one of the way of combating loneliness is to start thinking about some of the fond memories that you have with those who are no longer here with us, because they brought joy to us. They encouraged us. They were supportive of us, and then they even blessed us with some of the things that we still have to this day in life, because we have things that we pass down in the family, heirlooms, and so. That's something about that we can do with loneliness. The other thing about loneliness is that connect virtually. You can connect virtually or you can connect in person. Now, here we are with my TV show, and I'm having a digital TV show. I'm on Roku, I'm on Pod TV, I'm on Amazon Live, I'm on YouTube, and here I am on Facebook Live. So even with you connecting with me and type in the box and let me know where you dialing in from, or watching or viewing. Give me some indications. Let me see, take a look. I see, okay, Ohio is in the house. All right. So then there's some great people that's watching. But connect virtually and you can connect in person. So those events that you actually go to. And with the holiday season, we do have to be careful about it. So if you have to wear a mask, wear your mask. And don't be ashamed of having to wear the mask. It's okay, because you're protecting yourself and you're protecting others. And then reach out to friends that maybe you have not spoken with in a while. Let them know that you're thinking about them. I know I go through my Rolodex every month and I reach out to 4 or 5 people that I've not spoken to maybe in 4 or 5, 6 months. And by that, I'm rotating them and I have an opportunity to get to speak with them. And guess what? When I call, like, oh, I am so glad you called, or I was just thinking about you and I was going to call you. Do you get that when you call someone? I'm just thinking about them and they drop into your spirit. And so that's something that you can do, and that will help you to eliminate some of the loneliness. And then you can do video calls. You can have social media like we're doing right now, and then you can have the telephone where you can stay connected. Not everyone is going to get on the social media. And so I have an auntie. She's not necessarily wanting to get on social media, but I call on the telephone and we have an opportunity to talk on the telephone, and we have the best time. And my auntie is turning 94. So, again, life is not promised. It could be me that's gone and she could still be here. So, but you do it while you can. So when you no longer can reach out to someone, then you did it while you could. And then seek out some local community events where you can volunteer. Now you might say, well, what are some of the local events that I can do? And some of the ones that I wrote down that definitely people are in need of, and there's so many more, and you choose which one is going to work best for you. But I do know that we have the food banks. We have the soup kitchens that you can volunteer. You can serve meals, or you can maybe even prepare a meal and take it to an elderly person. I know some of my friends, they have a nonprofit where they work with the elderly and they make sure that they have an annual event where they feed the elderly. And then I have another friend who has a nonprofit, and she works with young girls, single mothers with girls. And so that she does things to make sure that those single moms have the necessary things that they need for these young ladies. And then, you have even with the food and bank, that's where you're sorting goods. That's where you are packaging foods, and then for the food pantries, and then when they have the trucks where they actually delivering the food or handing out the food, you can volunteer for that. And then you can organize some drives if you see that there's, because I know on TV I'll be hearing about people who have coat drives, shoe drives, hat drives, hat and glove drives. And then even today when I was watching TV, I saw someone who talked about the heaters, that they need heaters for some of the individuals who are without heat in their homes. So that's something to think about. And you can also volunteer at shelters. I mean, there's so many different ways to volunteer, and with shelters, such as the Salvation Army. And I know when I did TED Talk, I was on the stage with a lady from A Note in the Pocket. And so that's a local organization here in the Raleigh-Durham area that you can partner with. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to tell you who to partner with, but I'm just calling out some of the names that I know right off, just thinking about it right now. And what about our little fairy friends? Oh, the animal shelter. And if you're the animal lover and you want to volunteer at the local animal shelter, helping care for the animals and assisting with adoption events and fostering a pet. So there's so many different ways it's rewarding when it comes to the animal shelter. And then we have the senior citizens and the nursing homes. The church that I attended, I would go to the nursing home and we would sing the songs, and we would hand out the little care packages of the toiletry items and things like that. We would collect them and then put them together and then go to the nursing homes and share this information, the toiletry items with the seniors. It's just so rewarding on so many things that you can do. I'm a part of the Rotary, president-elect for 2025, as a matter of fact. And one of the things we do is service above self, and one of the things is community work, helping our youth in leadership, and we want to make sure that we give out and help individuals in need. So that's so rewarding to find yourself that instead of being lonely at home, there's different ways that you can then help others, and then it comforts you at the same time. And you can even organize holiday events for some of these senior citizens centers or nursing homes, and just go there and talk to the director and find out what is their need, and then you can be of service to them. And as I talk about being of service, there's such a thing as community service organizations, groups like the Habitat for Humanity, the local outreach programs, they need volunteers. They have various projects. They're working on different home buildings. They have fundraiser events. They have holiday charities. Step Up Durham, I know, is one of the ones, and I'm not sure. I think there's a Step Up Raleigh as well. And so look in your local areas and see if you have a Step Up where, they help individuals seek job employment, resumes, and so forth like that. And if they're in need of clothing, then, they help them. And then Dress for Success is out here that you can volunteer and help individuals with that. I'm just throwing out some names, but you decide who it is that you see yourself volunteer with. Through my volunteer work, I have to say that I'm proud to have received the Presidential Lifetime Volunteer Award. And 50 years of volunteering, and I still don't get tired of doing it, because that's just who I am, and that's a love that I have for me to give out. But then what about our children's hospitals and those type of organizations? That's where you can go in and support the children. Not everyone is going to allow you to be able to come into the hospital with everything that's going on with COVID and the flu season. But you make the call. You find out what you can do. You find out what their need is. You find out if you can, come to a particular area that they bring the children to you, and you have gifts that you're going to give out to those children. I know one of my friends who are no longer here with us, she was collecting teddy bears, and she was giving those out in honor of a child that she had lost. So there's so many different ways that you can give back and volunteer. You don't have to be lonely by yourself, and you're not in this world by yourself. There's a lot of us go through different loneliness at different times and in different ways. And then, you have the environmental organizations. This is where if you're passionate about the environment, this is where you consider volunteering for the local cleanup efforts. And then, tree planting events, conservation programs with organizations like the Nature Conservatory for the local areas, a local land trust. So these are some of the things that you can do that can occupy you and keep you from feeling lonely. And then now there is a crisis hotline. I do want to make sure I mention that. So if you feel lonely and you need that type of help, there is a crisis hotline and support services. And it's a nonprofit that focuses on mental health, and such as the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the NAMI, and they often have trained volunteers who can provide support and resources to individuals who are in crises and who especially finding themselves feeling, emotionally stressful during this time of the year. I do have the number for that, and we'll be posting that shortly. I think that would be something that we would need to do. And so these are just some of the ways that you can eliminate that area of you feeling lonely. Remember, you're not out here by yourself, and there are individuals who are available who can assist you. And then, we talk about the holidays, and another thing that happened during the holidays is going to be the financial strain. Financial strain. Yes. This is where the expenses start. It can add up, 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 and up and up because you're buying the gifts. And you have to ask yourself, is this something that you can truly afford? And set a budget for yourself. So this is where it's critical that you create a detailed budget. I know I have a friend who the detox, so she's a detox lady when it comes to finances. And Kimberly Winborn, she does a financial workshop on being detox and getting your financial uh, self together. So I think that's good. But once you create the budget, you want to stick to the budget. You don't want to overspend. And I tell you, one of the things that I talk to my kids about is I didn't have a budget. And my budget was not to spend during the holidays. And you might say, okay, that doesn't really sound right. So what I did was as they needed items, I made sure that I gifted them with those items during the year, all year long. Because remember what I said, tomorrow is not promised. So do what you can today because you have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. And so as I gifted them with what they needed during the year, I did not feel obligated to have a extravagant budget during the holiday times. Now that's just me. I'm just sharing with you what worked for me, but you have to decide what works for you. And then you have to prioritize your expenses. You have to determine what is essential and what can be reduced or eliminated. And I know we give individuals say, okay, give us a list. And then we look on that list and say, which one are we going to decide to share or bless them with? And so, but you have to just prioritize your spending. And then that will help you to keep things under control. And look at alternative gifts. Oh man, I never will forget when I did all of my gifts during the holiday, I actually handmade them. I was so proud of hand making them. I mean, I was so proud. I mean, with the wreaths and the bows and the different plates that I put together, the different pearls that I put together and gave away. So there was I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. And they loved it because what? It was homemade, as they say, but it was tailored made, is what I say. It was tailor made. So you're able to give those tailor made gifts because it matches decor in their home, or it may have matched the decor in their office. So there's different things that you can hone in on and you can make it special and you can prioritize. And then, sometimes you have that thing called the gift exchange and the secret Santa, the white elephant gift. There's a lot of different ways that people do the exchange, or you pull a number and that's a gift that you get a chance to keep. So there's just different ways that you can do it to make it fun, or, and sometimes they don't have to bring anything. You already have the gifts already there because you were gifted with so many great things during the year that you can share these gifts during this Christmas time or during this holiday time. So that's something to think about. And then you want to look at experiences over items. So what kind of experiences can you give a person? Can you send them on a nice little mini trip, or can you give them a stay vacation at a hotel room, or can you give them with a nice dinner or some candles? So there's different ways that you can experiences over items. Again, a homemade dinner would be great. Me and my preservatives intolerance situation, I find myself doing more homemade dinners than anything. And I also give a lot of organic treats away during the holiday because I love baking. And when I bake, I do organic baking. I do my organic cakes. I do my organic carrot muffins. And then I do pretty much organic apple pies, believe it or not. And so I give those as my gifts during the holidays. So I don't wait until it's actually Christmas. Again, like I told you, I give gifts all year long so that I'm not obligated to do all this work added up and put too much stress on myself during the holidays. And then there's such a thing as maybe even a coupon. You can give coupons, to spas, to nails, to massages. And even the gift cards is, they're already announcing with the gift cards. Be careful with the gift cards. So some of them are already used, Pay attention when you purchase them in the store to ensure that there's going to be money when the person opens it up and can they use it. One of the things that I talk about all the time with my clients is time management and organizational skills. And so this brings me to an area that's called plan ahead. That's right. Plan ahead on what you're going to be doing, when you're going to be doing it, where you're going to be doing it, who you're going to be doing it with, and why are you even doing it? So plan ahead and use your calendar to help you plan ahead. And if you put these things on your calendar, then it keeps you from double booking and finding yourself trying to go to two events at the same time, which is almost definitely impossible. So if you plan ahead, then you're going to start your shopping early, and then it can keep your costs down because when things go on sale, you're right there to purchase them. If you're going to give the gift, or if you're going to purchase things in order to make gifts to give away, then that's another way of starting early. I always look for sales and discounts and buy throughout the year. Just like I said, buy throughout the year and then give throughout the year. So you're not obligated for one particular week in the year. Create a savings plan. Now, that's what is easier said than done, right? Create a savings plan, which means come January, you can start tucking away your savings that you're going to be spending for the holidays. But you have to put yourself on a budget. You have to know how much you'll be able to save and what holidays you're going to spend the money for. Because like I said, there are a lot of holidays in the United States in one year. And I'm not just one who verses say it has to be during the Christmas time, because again, give while you can and give it from the heart so the person can enjoy it while they can. That's just my philosophy, but everybody have their way of looking at it. And so then the next thing is limit your travel expenses. Stay local whenever possible. And I do know individuals who are traveling out of the country. Be careful, be safe. And then I do know that when you're celebrating at home, you still have to be careful and be safe. And then when you consider hosting holiday gatherings with family and friends, choose a place where you can be safe and have fun. And carpool and share rides as much as possible. So one way of reducing stress is that if you go to an outing or an event and you know you're going to be indulging and you're not going to feel like driving home, or it's unsafe for you to drive home, then you want to have a backup plan and someone there to drive you home. Or you get an Uber, or you get, all of the different type of cabs that you can get that can take you home and you can get there safely. So that's the main thing. And so, and if you carpool, when you talk about traveling and sharing rides, that's going to help cut down on the cost, and it's going to help cut down on the fuel costs as well. Not only your traveling costs and food costs, but also the gas costs. And then I want you to think of this: utilizing community resources. This is where you can utilize the food bank and assistance programs in order for you to have extra groceries, in order for you to host those events. So if you want to host an event for a senior citizen home or nursing home, or you want to, give back that way, then see because there's a lot of different churches and everything that have food giveaways, and all you have to do is show up. So there's different ways that you can stretch your dollars during the holidays. So don't hesitate to ask for help. So that's another thing. And then there are free events. Not every event costs. So look for some of the community events that's out here, such as the holiday festivals or concerts. And then you can even provide, I know there's some different parades that's going on. I'm going to be participating in the Nightdale Christmas Parade on Saturday, with the Rotary Club of Nightdale. And so that should be really, really fun. So if you're out and about and in the Nightdale area, come on out and see if you see me on the float at the Christmas parade. And then communicate openly. So discuss your financial outcomes with your loved one, or with the person that you're with, or with your family, or with the friends, so that, the expectations are set and you stand within your boundaries and you stand within your budget. And please, by all means, avoid debt accumulation. Limit yourself. Keep your resources together. Don't overspend. The next day has to happen, and you have to continue to live, beyond just one particular holiday. So therefore, if you could limit your credit card use, do that, because it's fun while you're just spending it, but guess what? You still have to pay the bills. When that bill come in, you're still going to have to pay that bill. So avoid using your credit card for holiday purchases to prevent accumulating debt as much as possible. But instead, if you can, pay for it. If you can, like I said, if you can, and then stay within your budget. So planning ahead and being mindful of your spending, that can help you to navigate the holiday season without burden of a financial strain, and allow you to have more enjoyment and stress-free celebration. So we're at 10. We got 10 more minutes. Let me see if I have any questions out here. Let's see. Monette is listening. Hi, Monette. How are you? I love you. Happy holidays. Let me know if you have any questions. I trust this is helping everyone. I trust this is great information. I'm not going to get into the family dynamics because there's so many different things that can happen in the family dynamics. But let's see if we have anybody else with the any questions. All right, they talk. Okay. Someone is asking about gratitude. Gratitude. With the gratitude, it's always good to be thankful for what it is that you have. Be thankful for what people are giving to you and sharing with you. Thank you for people who are supporting you, such as Manette, who's supporting me and looking at this the podcast and the TV show. So with gratitude, thank you. With gratitude, Monet, she said, wonderful topics tonight. With gratitude, I want you to understand that you can also journal. You can put your gratitudes in a journal, what you're grateful for, not just here at the holiday season, but every day in life. What are you grateful for? Because sometimes when we think we have a little, we really have a whole lot. And that's because when we write down what we're grateful for, we are able to see all of those things that we have that just, they look small, but they're really big in the scheme of things. Because when a person gives you their heart, or they're there to support you, be grateful for that. And that's huge. That's coming from within them. And so that's another thing that you can do, is to be grateful. Now, even being grateful, we have on my website, we do have a journal. It's a journal and a guidebook, and it's called Transformation: Write plus Share plus Live. Because we're going to go through transformations in life. And as we go through those transformations, I want you to write about it. I want you to document it. I want you to have that legacy that you can read and others can read about you. And as you're writing it, it's something that you can also turn into a book. It can even turn into a play. It can turn into a bestseller HBO special. And then when you share it with other people, even like with what I'm sharing tonight, these are some things that I have written down for myself along the way when I start talking about holiday mental healthfulness. And when you write these things down in your journal, you start looking back on them like, oh, wow, I didn't realize I was going through that at that time. But then I've overcome that, or I had this person tell me overcome that. And so it's good to have those close knit family and friends that you can call on when you need them. And so be grateful for that as well. It's not the big things always, it's the little small things that make a difference, especially when it comes from the heart. So be grateful. All right. I hear someone talked about staying connected. Yes. I mentioned to you that it's so important to stay connected. Reach out to those when they drop into your spirit. Take the time to call them. Take the time to text them. Take the time to send them an email. If you can't pick up the telephone call, but they dropped into your spirit, to actually talk with them, then go on and text them and let them know that you're thinking about them. That could be the one thing that they need in that day. I'm a hugger. So a lot of people already know that about me. And so when they see me, they know Maxine is either going to hug you or she wants a hug. But COVID put a little distance to that. But at times, we have the mask on. So it's like, okay, I'll stay. I won't hug them. A lot of times people don't want you to invade their space, but I'm a hugger. So you know that. And so, staying connected is so important because it helps you and it helps the person that you're calling. And so staying connected with those other people. I have about 5 senior ladies that I will call every month. I've lost 3 of them. And so now there's 2 of them that I call every month to see how they're doing. And sometimes I call twice a month. They love my calls and I love talking to them. I always love hearing their words of wisdom, and it imparts so much greatness into me, and also it helps me to think about some of the things that I need to be thinking about as I move forward in life because they have already experienced it. So that staying connected is so important. I have a friend that oh gosh, I think we are going on 50 years of friendship. We talk once a week. So, see, when you get used to talking to a person once a week or every day, and they're no longer here, and that way you feel, lonely or you start feeling stressful, then pick up the telephone and start calling other people who could use that, because you can make someone's day and that person can make your day just by staying connected. And rotate them who you're going to call. If you get so many of them that you can't keep up with all of them, then put them on a schedule and still call them. They're still going to enjoy that conversation with you just like it was every day. If it's every other day or once a week, they still are going to enjoy the conversation. And I learned so much by talking with my elders. And as I'm getting ready to close, I want to mention this: limit the exposure to triggers. If you already know what's going to trigger you off and it's going to cause you to have that stress, I want to type in here. Um, okay, I want to type in here. Let me, Mark, can you type in there? There's a 1-800 number for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. You can reach them at 1-800-273, the word talk, TALK. That's 100. I'm sorry, that's 1-800-273-8255 is the number. And so that's something that you want. And then they've even shortened it down to, you can transition it into the number 988. If you cannot remember that full number, just use the numbers 988 on your telephone, which is a 3-digit number to easy access to the mental health support, including suicide prevention resources. So again, you can call 988, or the numbers going across the screen, 1-800-273-TALK, 1-800-273-TALK. I know I've talked about a lot about the mental holiday helpfulness, but I did not want to leave this conversation without talking about how can you get professional help should you need it. Now, I mentioned that I'm going to be having my, what I call it, having my grand opening in March for the Career and Development Institute. Levelist Career and Professional Development Institute is going to be launched in March. That's our grand opening. In the meantime, if you see that you need assistance when it comes to what am I going to be doing in 2025 as I move forward with my goals, and Levelist is about success without levels. We do have an assessment that we do. That assessment helps me to help you to understand what are your strengths. And then understanding those strengths, then you're going to understand what career path is best for those strengths that you have been born with. And from the career path, you're going to select a profession. And in that profession, I trust that that's something that you're going to be loved to do, and you're just happy to get paid for it. And so that's what we do here at Levelist, is to help you excel in what you have been born that, and you have been blessed to be born with, as far as your natural God-given abilities. And so as we come to a close, I want to say to you, enjoy your holiday, be safe. Next week, we're going to have a young man by the name of Antonio Human coming on. Antonio has autism, but at 25, he's an artist. He's a poet. He has written a book. He has greeting cards that has now produced. I want him to come on and share with the world what he has done. And then I have another young lady that's Stanford is going to be coming on, and she's going to be sharing with us a song and that she has written. And let me tell you what, it is powerful. You do not want to miss the next show. So meet me back here next week at the same time, same place, same station. No, I believe in you. I trust you believe in yourself. Until then, I'll see you later.
Telling me to dance, taking a chance.